Hello. Today we are doing something a little bit different here. I had an idea a while back about kind of humanizing myself and if that makes sense, and making people realize that I'm just a normal person. I go through a lot of struggles just like everybody else. I know everybody goes through these struggles. Maybe not the exact same ones as me, but that's what I want to kind of do here. We're going to do a little series here, a little experiment. And I have my wife, Jill, sitting next to me here.
Hi, everyone.
And I want to, kind of talk about some things that we go through, kind of explain some things. So, like I said, this is my wife, Jill, and my name is Chris, and I make these HVACR videos, if you don't already know me. And I just do these videos to try to help the next person. Originally, I started making these for my own employees as a training aid, and then I decided to make them public, and then next thing you know, they turned into what they're turning into, and it's just kind of going everywhere. But I get all kinds of questions and comments and different things, and people praising me and people chastising me and all kinds of different stuff. And I just want to explain, my situation and kind of give some context to my story, okay? So Jill and I have been dating, married forever, okay? So we met in high school. I was a junior in high school. No.
You were a senior.
That's right.
I was a junior.
She was a junior. I was a senior. We went to the rival high schools. We met through a mutual friend. I'm 36 now, or I'm about to turn 36. And I just, I've done this my whole life. This is all I've ever done. This is all I've ever known is HVAC. I had a very small time where I was working for a body shop, but not even mentionable. It was so little. So, I hear a lot of things about people that have marital problems. And I'm not saying we have a perfect relationship. What we have works for us, at least at this moment, unless you have something you want to tell me.
That's pretty perfect. Okay.
All right. We're good. So, just making sure you weren't leaving me. You don't got no secrets, none of that. She didn't like my jokes. So, and I just kind of want to pull the curtain back and reveal a few things. Okay. This is going to kind of be a series. We're going to talk a little bit about stuff. We're going to go into some details. We're not going to cover it all in this. Okay, we're going to try to keep these somewhat short to where we're not spending an hour and a half. We honestly already recorded something kind of practicing for this, and it ended up being so long that I was like, there's no way someone's going to watch this whole video. So we're going to try to break it up. So this one's really going to be an introduction, just kind of explaining and, giving context to what we're doing here, okay? So I've been an HVAC tech. I grew up in the trade, all right? I work with my father. I still work with my father to this day. We're partners in a refrigeration and air conditioning company. But before that, I was just a little kid, okay? Grew up working with him, sitting on his bucket, holding his flashlight. Decided that I wanted absolutely nothing to do with this trade. I hated it. And then right after high school in 2002, I decided that I wanted to come to work for him full time. And here we are now. It's been just over 17 years, I think. And I've gone through a lot, gone through good things, gone through bad things, gone through normal stuff that I know that all you guys go through too, okay? Jill and I, we got married very young and had children very young. How old were we?
Well, we got married when I was 21. You were 21, 22. 22.
Yeah, 22.
When we had our first child when I was 22, shortly after, later that. About a year later.
Yeah. And we did everything
family
probably that everybody else has done. We did everything very early. We got excited. We bought a house at a really young age, right before the first housing, right in the middle of the first housing boom in the 2000s. And right at just before the housing market crashed, we bought this giant house that we couldn't afford. And, we were just like everybody else.
We're excited. Starting a family, got a dog, had a cat.
Yeah, just like the perfect little family. Thing that we had going on. And we made a lot of mistakes, just like everybody else. I'm assuming you probably learned from a lot of mistakes. Boy, if we could change some things now, we've had these discussions that we could both, it would be amazing if we could. But anyways, you live and you learn.
If we knew what we know now.
Yeah.
Then.
Right? Yeah. Hindsight's
that's how it works.
50-50 or 20-20 or whatever it's called. Okay. So, we kind of want to cover a few things in this. Okay. So like I said, I've been a tech for about 17 years. We've been married. What is it now for?
14 years this
14
year?
years?
I think it's 14 this year.
Sounds about right.
2005, we got married, yeah.
But I mean, we dated all through high school. Well, not all through, towards the end of high school, you know, so we lived together for a little bit. Some things that I kind of wanted to ask Jill about and kind of get her perspective on is, first off, when you met me, I was already an HVAC technician and I was already working a lot. Actually, no, you knew me when I wasn't an HVAC technician.
You were working at the body shop.
That's right. I was working at the body shop. So do you think that things changed, like as far as my intensity and, you know, how much I guess obsess with what I do? I don't know if that's the right word, but I mean, do you think my conviction has changed since I became an HVAC tech from a body shop tech?
I think from the body shop, you left your work when you left the body shop. With the HVAC tech, like that work follows you home.
Okay. And to add context, I've always worked for my father's company, so there's always been an ownership aspect. Even in the very beginning when I wasn't an official owner yet, it's always been treated as if I owned it. So yeah, I guess that does make sense. So I don't know if any of that relates to you guys, but I've always treated this before it was mine as if it was mine, and I obsess with it. Now, so from the beginning to now, just kind of a quick idea. I mean, has my obsession with everything changed, or do you think it's still the same?
I don't know. From the HVAC work life, I think it's always pretty much been the same.
Okay.
Because you're always, you know, you're the go-to person a lot of the time. So
yeah,
I mean, from what I can remember, the body shop and stuff, it's not like people from there were calling you after hours for help or, you know, calls or whatever. And with this, it's totally different, but I'm used to it. So.
Okay. And so, guys, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this too, but we're just kind of covering cliff notes a little bit in this one, okay, to give you guys an idea of what we're going to talk about in depth later. Okay, so now when it comes to other things that have happened along the way, we've gone through normal life struggles, okay? I've always had, I'm going to call it a mental disorder. I don't know if that's quite the right word. It's really not as serious as it sounds, but I've battled with depression. I've battled with anxiety, just like I know everybody else has. Okay, guys. So it is real, and I know that other people go through it. So, you know, just bear with it. And I'm going to do an episode on that too, talking about mental health and how I feel like I've learned to live with it and learn to work with it and, you know, learn to cope with it essentially. Okay. And, you know, Jill has also gone through a lot of health problems too that we want to cover. How old were you when you realized that she was diagnosed with
hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's hypothyroidism?
Well, in some context too, we're going to go into some more detail, but you weren't necessarily diagnosed with Hashimoto's from the beginning.
No, it took a couple of years. A
couple of years of stress and worry and, you know, of trying to figure out why the medicine's not working in different things. You know, and that was at a critical point in our life because we were going through a lot of stress at home. And then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I would work a really, really long day and then I would come home and Jill would already be asleep. And it's not like...
It was like 7 p.m. So
yeah.
It was like once I got the kids to sleep, okay, I was going to bed too. And I kind of just linked it to being tired as a mom, but it really sucked, like being that tired.
I can remember coming home sometimes during the day, like sneaking home for whatever. I was in the area, so I'd stop by and she would literally be... And again, these are all signs that we see now and we understand now, but this was really interesting. She would be laying in the sunlight of our one door
window.
Yeah, going into the backyard. At certain times in the day, the sun would shine through it. And if you can picture this, we had cats, right? And our cats would lay in the sun and they would move as the sun moved.
That was my favorite spot for a while.
Yeah, like literally on the floor. I would come and find her laying on the floor in the sunlight like she was a cat, you know, sunning herself. Now,
sunning myself.
Sunning herself, right? Is that a word? But, you know, so we're definitely going to go into...
Cold.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go into more detail about that because it wasn't just cold. It was more than just that too, okay? So, you know, I really want to... It's hard for me not to totally go into depth on the mental disorder stuff and everything because that really, really did affect us. But, you know, I just kind of want to, you know, touch on this. And I want to touch on some other things too, such as... you know, things we have to think about now. Obviously, I'm going to use the phrase adulting. Adulting sucks, right? People joke and say that adulting sucks, but there's a lot of things as a parent and as a business owner that I have to think about that really does suck. Okay. For instance, you know, yesterday, my daughter, long story short, my oldest daughter wanted to learn how to ride a skateboard. She got a skateboard, and then I decided to go buy a skateboard with her too. So we're out front, we're riding skateboards around, and little things cross your mind. Like, what happens? Something as simple as me slipping and falling and I break my arm, or I you know, sprain my wrist or whatever. I have to be able to work. You know, like I have to think about all that stuff. And not only do I have to be able to work, but I have to be able to run a business at the same time. And these are the things that they wake me up, and anxiety starts to build, and you start to get, you know, you just start worrying about everything. You know, it's very interesting. Do you notice that I worry about all that stuff? I mean, is it really, or do I hold it in?
I think you hold that stuff in a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we just don't do things like we used to, really, but there's other reasons,
definitely,
why we don't do those, but
definitely. I mean, and you know,
that's a part of it.
And I'm sure everybody's different before they have kids, but before we had kids, you know, Jill worked just as much as I did. She was a waitress, and literally she would work all night and I would work all day. So we were lucky if we got to say hi to each other as we were passing, going to work.
Yeah, kind of working or living that life again at the moment.
Yeah, we definitely are. And
not as much, but
it's interesting how you go back to it, because Jill has since gone back to work, and yeah, so we're living that right now. It's maybe not as horrible as it was.
Not as bad.
But it's definitely interesting because now you add kids into the aspect, and you know, we have children that are old enough to stay home alone now, which is a trip, right? Because you're leaving your kids at home. But for many, many years, we couldn't. And that added extra stress to everything because, you know, Jill didn't just recently go back to work. She's gone back to work a couple times in our lives.
On and off. And
yeah,
every few years.
On and off. And that added a lot of crazy stress to our lives too, because back then when the kids were so young, you know, and I was still working and she had to go to work, she would have to figure out a place for the kids to go. And I will admit fully that I was no help in that. You know, I was going through some stuff too. And basically I put that on her. And so she had to, I know you had to deal with the stress and the anxiety of having to worry about making it to work on time, and me being a butthead basically and not acknowledging any of that.
It was all on me. It was pretty rough.
And I realize now, but it's these little things that.
But it's also the points where it got me to stop working because it was so like stressful, not just for you. You already felt it, but then for me, like eventually you would see that and you're like, it's just too much. Yeah. Yeah, so. Definitely. You know, and going through all that stuff, we went through normal, you know, take the business aspect out of it, right? We went through normal stuff that every couple, I'm assuming, goes through too. We went through financial problems. We were in debt up to our eyeballs and beyond that. We were charging everything on a credit card. We were, you know, just spending money we didn't have. And it was really easy to do that because we were hardly ever together. So the very, very small times, or the very minimal times that we were together, it was really easy for me to justify, well, we don't get to do anything. So guess what? We're going on a 2-week cruise to the Bahamas. I think we did that once. And we did all kinds of stuff where... Or just the big road trips, just the unplanned, not budgeted lifestyle. Yeah, definitely. So we'll pay for it later and... Yeah, and we paid for it. Still paying for it. Still paying for it. I mean, you know, yeah. In ways. In different ways. Yeah, definitely. So if any of this sounds familiar, it's not just you, okay? We go through it just as much. I understand that there's a business aspect to what I have involved here, and that's a whole nother, like I said, this is a series. We're going to kind of go into depth about a couple different things. But, you know, we just kind of wanted to give you guys an idea where we want to go with this, okay? And Jill is going to be involved. Real life, definitely. Real life behind the work. And I kind of want to give perspective to any other spouses that are out there that are watching, that are wondering, because I do hear people having problem with their spouses, or spouses having problems with the whoever, right? Because you guys work a lot. We do work a lot. And at the same time, you know, if you have undiagnosed mental disorders, anxiety, depression, it adds a whole nother aspect of, yeah,
crazy
stress
aspect
and
to it.
feeling. And
So and again, I will go more into depth of this, but I mean, I went through personal problems because of family stuff from when I was a little kid. I had suppressed anger and stuff. And, you know, and for the longest time, I didn't want, I saw my parents go through problems. See, my stepmother was very involved with the business a long time ago, and I saw my dad and my stepmom go through a lot of problems because they were all involved. So it was really easy for me to decide from the very beginning that Jill was going to have nothing to do with this business. And I went crazy with that, and I didn't even share anything about work with her. So for many years, I just suppressed everything. When I would come home angry, I would just get quiet, and then every once in a while it would explode, and that led to a whole thing too. So it's real. The struggle's real. It's not just you guys that are going through this, okay? And we're definitely going to dive deeper into that and talk about that a little bit more, okay? And hopefully this can, make it, make someone who's coming into the trade understand what they might run into, make someone that's been in the trade for a very long time, see what it's like and hear a spouse's perspective on, these things. And, just kind of explain some things. So we'll definitely cover more. So and I want to point out, too, that this is not going to be a replacement of my normal videos. OK, this is going to be a bonus series. This is not going to replace my Mondays or Fridays videos. OK, so you're going to continue to see my Monday, Friday videos. And this is just going to be a bonus. And, hopefully you guys get something from it. So I'd really appreciate if you guys leave something down in the comments.
Have any questions?
Yeah. Definitely.
That you guys want to,
if you guys have questions or your wives have questions or your spouses have questions, what
we do to make this work.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it.
Okay. We're definitely going to get into it and give us some ideas of topics that you want us to talk about. If we have experience, we'll talk about it. Okay. And we'll go through that. All right. So, really appreciate you guys, taking the time to watch this. Like I said, leave us some feedback down in the bottom, and, I guess we will catch you guys on the next one, okay? See you later.
Bye.